Good morning. It's Monday. I am going to take you with me on my work week as a consultant registered dietitian nutritionist this week. So if you are new here, my name is Casey, and like I said, I'm a consultant dietitian nutritionist. That's feeling like a mouthful. So technically I am registered as a dietitian nutritionist, and then okay, wow, we're not doing all that. I'm so tired. So it is Monday. And I've not yet had my cup of coffee, so bear with me, but I'm gonna kind of give you a little glimpse at what is to be expected for today. If you watched my videos from last week, this Monday is very similar to last week's Monday, where I have like a lot going on. It's a little bit crazy, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm gonna take a sip of this. Okay, and I also can put my freaking glasses away. As a consultant dietitian, I work for a company that has contracts with different healthcare facilities. So I kind of go to a few buildings, like whatever is kind of assigned to me, and go do the work that is specified for that specific location. So there's a lot of variety throughout my week. So you're going to be coming with me to a lot of different types of roles and facilities this week. And especially today, we have a little bit of variety going on. I'm probably going to continue not taking you inside of any of these buildings unless I find a good opportunity where it makes sense and doesn't disclose any like sensitive information or whatever, but I will try to give you some interesting context. I like to show you some of the different forms or like electronic things that I'm working on, so maybe that will be something to expect to come. But anyway, today is a kind of packed day. I have 3 places I'm going to, and the commute between each of these buildings is kind of considerable. So it's going to just be a very long day. So right now I'm at a like regular type of hospital, like what you think of when you think of a hospital, like, oh, I have to go to the hospital. That's where I am. And it's about half hour away from my house. Oh. Last time I was in this parking lot, I heard a noise and I was like, what was that noise? And I'm seeing the dumpsters now. So I guessed right. I thought it was probably dumpsters, but I couldn't see it. I think I was facing the other way. What? Hello. Oh, I'm at a hospital. So the agenda for here is I'm just going to go in and meet with the kitchen manager because she's my like point of contact here. I haven't formally met a lot of the other leadership just because this is kind of a unique situation where we used to be only going here as needed whenever their in-house dietitian was on vacation, but that contract is changing. I think today is actually the start of like the new contract where we're going to be going here regularly. For a while it's going to be me, but there is another dietitian already trained here that's currently on maternity leave, so I'm hoping she comes back. I mean, she's coming back soon, but I'm hoping she's going to be able to take some of this off of my plate because I like this building so far, but like layering it on the days that I'm visiting, like the days I'm supposed to be visiting here, I already have kind of a larger thing going on that's already been scheduled consistently on those days. I don't know if that makes sense. So like a couple of my buildings right now are Monday, Wednesday, Friday buildings. So and that's just to meet certain criteria. Like if I got a nutrition request for a consult, I have 72 hours to fulfill that, and that's kind of a universal across the board thing. So a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule inherently meets that. So like if someone comes in on a Friday, but I've already left the building, I just need to see them by Monday. So that's kind of why a lot of the buildings tend to fall into that pattern. But layering the things that I have going on Mondays and Fridays especially is becoming a little bit hectic. So I'm really hoping that the maternity leave can kind of alleviate some of this specific place for my schedule. Yeah, so I need to go meet with the kitchen person, see what the workload's gonna be. I'm not able to access any of this remotely at this time. They're going to be changing their electronic medical software in the summer, I think early summer, maybe in the next 2 months. And I think that'll bring about a change so I can check in remotely and kind of anticipate what my workload's going to be and potentially even get some remote work done if able. That would help me a lot. And it sounds like the kitchen manager is open to that. She used to be very adamantly against it, but it sounds like she might be considering being more flexible on it. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, I don't know how long to expect this will take me. It's kind of been a little different each time. Average, I think, is a little over 3 hours, which is a little bit crazy because there's not a lot of actual work. I don't know why it takes so long. Like, there's not a lot of patients to see. It's just kind of like going through the motions is very tedious. I don't really know. We'll pause there. I'll kind of tell you what else is going on as we get there, but coming up next, I have an inpatient psychiatric hospital to go to, and then a group home that I'm going to be visiting for a semi-annual visit. I don't go there as often, and doing a dinner observation and chatting with all of the patients that are currently living there. I need to remind myself which group home that is because I've forgotten. There's a set of 4 of them, and like I went to one last week. I went to one in like January, so I forget which one is due today, but I scheduled it. I just need to look back at my old emails. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm gonna go into the, oh, I gotta get my name tag. I'm gonna go into the building, gonna do that work, and we will chat again when I have something to chat about. Well, howdy. I just got out. I have 0 hands. I don't know why I'm trying to do this with 0 hands. Oh my God, oh my God. That was so quick. It was like eerily easy today. Eerily easy. And I didn't have to give any nutrition education because either this is chaotic. Either the people that I was assessing were NPO, which means they're not consuming any food orally and they're progressing to like a clear liquid diet, and then they progress as tolerated by the doctor's discretion. Either we had that going on, or a different dietitian assessed them on Friday and already met with them and stuff. So I'm like, there's nothing new. I'm not going to bother them again. Or the other one, because there was only like 5, the only other one had dementia. So I'm like, probably not going to be able to help you. And I don't think they had anything nutritionally going on anyway. So I was like, okay. So yeah, easy peasy, like lemon squeezy. So super easy. And I'm feeling really good. This is a really good start to my Monday, my super crazy Monday. I did chat schedule stuff a little bit with the staff here. And I'm sure I'm going to be obsessing over my schedule with my bosses and coworkers for the rest of the week. It'll be super duper fun. But yeah, nothing like interesting to report. I didn't even finish my coffee. I was there so quickly. And now we're going to go to the psych inpatient hospital. And I'm sure we'll have more interesting things to talk about then, because luckily I have a good amount of time to like really knock out a lot of stuff, because I have a lot of stuff there. I had dreams, you guys. Okay, hold on. Let me put you down because I don't want to keep holding you. I'm going to put you down. We'll talk more. What's on you? Was that in your eyes the whole time? I'm sorry. I had dreams about work last night, like anxiety dreams. It was really weird, like very upsetting and unsettling. Like I dreamt vividly about showing up to one of my buildings today and a different dietitian being there and like being so confused, because I'm in my mind still a little bit anxious because I don't think I heard from her on Friday and she was covering for something on Friday. Like I'm just anxious because I feel like I didn't hear something from her. So I'm like, did she do the things that she was supposed to do, or am I screwed basically? And I had like a dream about going to that place and seeing her and doing work and everything and being stressed. And I think, oh my God, in my dream, it was my Monday, but I accidentally skipped this building that I'm at right now. Like I literally skipped this place and went to another place, and I was stressing about that all day because I knew like I had a tight schedule and there's not time to drive to this place and then back up to the other place. Like it was just a really weird, stressful work dream. And I don't remember many more details, but that was really weird. But now we're talking about dreams. Not that anyone cares about anyone else's dreams, but I read this book recently. I'll put the picture of the cover on the screen if I remember to do so. What was the book called? Oh, The Ministry of Time. I think I talked about it in one of my previous videos. So I read The Ministry of Time, which I anticipated to be like a sci-fi romance book. And essentially the plot is that this girly is working for like this corporation and becomes part of like their... Like she progresses to a point in the company where she gets more like security clearance and like gets to do more like top secret assignments, and she gets put on this team where she's a bridge for time travelers. So essentially what happens is like the company goes and picks up people who are literally about to die in their timeline and like comes and resuscitates them and like heals them and everything, and then brings them to the present day. So there's people from like the 1600s, the 1700s and stuff like that. And so the book is following this bridge who's like teaching this guy that has been brought from like 1692 or something, I don't remember, teaching him about like the modern day and like preparing him to live in the modern day. It was such a strange thing. And it was also a romance, of course. And I didn't love the book as much as I really hoped that I would, because I've been really enjoying sci-fi, like loving that. Like every time I read a sci-fi book, I'm like, I need to read more sci-fi books. And then also it had romance, which is like my fave. But like I wasn't dying over the book like I thought I would be. Like it was a really interesting story, but I don't know. Anyway, I had a dream recently that was like adjacent to that plot of the book, where I was like a mother taking care of like these children that were brought from the past and like teaching them about modern day stuff. And like we went to like an amusement park or something. But I remember specifically, because this is work related, that's why I'm bringing it up. I remember specifically like there were kids at a different home in a similar situation where like their like parental figures or whatever were teaching them fad diet information, like bad nutrition advice, like talking about like things that I do not agree with. And I remember being very angry about that and organizing like a group class for all the kids so I could teach them about like gentle, balanced, easy nutrition. So that was weird. That was weird. I had a dream where I'm like, I need to teach these kids how to eat healthy and like think in a neutral way about food. It was weird. It was a little bit strange. But yeah, that was my dream. 2 of my dreams. Okay, I'm gonna go to work. We're gonna drive. I have like another half-hour drive. I'm gonna listen to my audiobook. What did I just start? I guess we're gonna talk about books. This is just gonna be a chatty vlog. We'll definitely talk about work stuff, but like whatever. I think the audiobook, I forget the name of it. Again, I'll put the book title cover thing on the screen if I remember to. It's something like Crowns of Nyaxia or something like that. It's some sort of vampire book, and I think it's gonna be a romantasy. Like it's gotta be. That's I don't even know why I'm acting like I'm not totally positive. Like it's gonna be a romantasy where it's like this human girl that was raised as like the daughter of like the king of the vampires or whatever, and now she's participating in some like competition to get a wish where she can be just as powerful as her like father figure or whatever. But all of the people she's competing with are vampires, so it's like she's gonna die, but of course she's not gonna die. So that's kind of fun and juicy. I'm kind of having fun with that. I'm really loving romantasy, really loving it. We'll chat about this more later, but I'm reading a like straight up fantasy book at home that's been intimidating me for a while because okay, so it's a prequel. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to promise to put more pictures on the screen, stressing myself out for future Casey that's gonna have to edit this and add this, but I read in the last year or two The Priory of the Orange Tree, kind of on a whim, because I was like, oh my god, it's so long, like I should read it because that's so funny and quirky to read a book just because it's long. But then I was talked into it because it was like, oh no girl, this is really good. I'm like, okay, well I'll read it. And then it was really good. But it was less romance and just more fantasy. There was some romantic plots, I think, within the story. It's been a long time, so I kind of forget the details, but I was hyped when I heard there was a prequel coming out. What is the prequel called? It's literally on my coffee table right now. I have no idea, but I can picture the cover. I just can't think of the name. I started it in late February or early March. Okay, so in the last month, but I was just coming off of being sick for a really long time and my brain fog was crazy bad. I was having such a hard time, like in the midst of me being like actually sick. I couldn't even watch television because I could not like snap into any plot. I had to watch old comfort video things. Like I had to just like nothing new. It had to be very easy and light. And then I started reading the first couple pages of this book and I was like, I'm too stupid for this. Like I was like, I could not comprehend this at all. But this was like a week after I was done being sick, where the fog was still there, but I wasn't like dying anymore. And then I was extra scared to read the book because I've decided that I was too stupid for it, and it's a really long book and I was just scared. Okay. But I picked it up the other day and started reading it more, and I'm still feeling like I'm a little dumb, but like I'm enjoying it again. Like I can see the elements of the original Priory of the Orange Tree book that I was like, yes, I'm obsessed with this. Like I'm seeing that again. I'm like back into the story, even though I'm like still struggling a little bit with all the different names and areas and politics and the different religions and everything. Like there's a lot going on, but I am having a good time with it. Yeah, so that's book update. I don't know why I brought that up. I forget how we got there. But it's time to go. Time to listen to my vampire book and drink some coffee and go to my main building. So yeah, toodles. You're probably crooked. I feel like you're crooked. What the heck? Oh man, I got so sidetracked that I'm essentially late for this group home dinner time observation. I try to get here kind of early because they tend to eat dinner pretty early and it gives me some time to like chat with the clients before they eat if I need to. So my goal was to be here at 4:30 and it's currently 4:43, so I did not succeed. Yeah, I might have to give you a little rundown of what I did at my other place later, because right now I need to go inside and hope I didn't miss anything yet. I looked at my old notes, and last time I came here there was like a schedule conflict and they didn't have dinner as planned. They ended up having like Papa John's or something instead, because we provide a menu cycle for them to follow. But yeah, they did not follow it last time I was here. So sometimes I call ahead to warn them that I'm coming and everything, and to make sure there aren't schedule conflicts like that, but things have been a little bit too crazy. Mercury is still in retrograde, you guys, so okay. Toodles, I will chat with you more later. Okay, that was really easy. Good, honestly, good Monday. All things considered, this was a good Monday. Let me make sure I have all of my things. They're all where they're supposed to be. This home that I did the group home observation, so there wasn't any specific reason I was coming specifically today. It was just for a semi-annual visit to follow up with everyone. Everyone doing kind of as expected. Everyone's relatively stable weight-wise. One person did gain from last time I was here, but like anticipated it and said something about it before I even knew about the weights. Someone who I expected some slight weight losses lost some weight. Everyone ate well. We were kind of chatting throughout. They're very chill, very easy, subdued. Dinner was quick. Dinner, of course, was like burgers and french fries. That was what was scheduled on the menu that we've provided them. So it is just funny because, for me, it was funny because in part of my assessment, I say something about their ability to feed themselves and like if they're struggling with the utensils they're using. And last time when I was here, they had pizza because of a scheduling conflict, which is obviously finger food. So I couldn't say anything about their utensil usage. And then this time, of course, it's finger foods again. So I have no idea how any of them are doing with utensils, but I can presume based on what I already know and what I could see about what they were eating. But let me see. I am just sitting in their driveway, so I should probably leave. I know I told you I would check in about what else I did at like my inpatient psych place. It's all kind of a blank. My brain's kind of just like a loading screen again. That happens with my ADHD. Once the pills have worn off, I just turn into a loading screen. So that's fun. Nothing interesting to report, like nutrition conversation wise in that regard, because I didn't have any referrals. It's the second visit in a row for that place that I haven't had any nutrition consult referrals, which is weird. There were 2 food allergies, but nothing like unusual or interesting really. I did go through the spring summer menu and I'm getting blocked in. Oh no. Someone just parked behind me. Hold on. Yeah, I knew that would happen. I knew it was a risk anyway, because I have blocked people into the driveways in the past. It's always a whole thing. But anyway, I was gonna just catch you up later, but I knew I would forget what I was talking about, so I just drove a little bit and pulled over at a church parking lot. No one else is here. Yeah, so I went through the spring and summer menu with the kitchen manager. So this has been kind of an ongoing project because we just moved to our spring summer menu cycle. We have 4-week menu cycles that are seasonal. So we have our fall winter, and we just moved to spring summer. This is week 1. So we agreed on week 1 previously, but I didn't have like a final draft of weeks 2 through 4. I feel like my teeth are crooked. I'm gonna have to wear my retainer tonight. I keep like hitting one of my bottom teeth. It's making me crazy. It's a sensory nightmare. What was I saying? Oh, so I had some notes from her last week that were basically things that we either needed to switch, or like she can't order these products anymore, or just like ideas to make it a little bit better. Because we have some things that we try to keep in mind, like is it kid friendly? Is it like a colorful meal? Like do we have, and then nutrition wise, like are there enough fruits and vegetables served? Like that kind of thing. So we went through and finalized weeks 1 through 4. Now I highly considered, and I talked about this in a previous video, and I'm sure I've talked about it. What did I just speak English? What was that? I'm sure I've talked about it in the past as well, but for fall winter, I thought it would be fun to move towards like a theme day type of menu cycle where like the kids, because it's primarily children at this hospital, could anticipate like a certain type of meal each day of the week basically. So we always had pizza Fridays, for example, and they always had like a Taco Tuesday type of thing, and always had Asian lunch on Mondays. Like we had like themes like that, right? And I was thinking about doing the same thing for spring summer because I like that concept, but I'm actually quite happy with how the menu resulted after today's discussion with the kitchen manager, so I don't feel like we need to change it further right now. We swapped a lot of things. We made it a little bit more exciting, and things that like were anticipating everyone enjoying. I forgot how to speak. I don't know what's going on. The kitchen, like making it and people eating it. Like we just think it'll go pretty well. So I'm happy with that. That's finalized. I still need to go through and do carbohydrate counts. So we have sheets. What are those noises? Hello? Is it like a branch? What's going on? Is my car locked? make sure it's locked. So for our diabetic patients, we do have a diabetic diet order that we can put them on, but we also have alongside that these carbohydrate count sheets, which I'm considering doing away with. Like I feel like they're more trouble than they're worth, but maybe that's me being selfish because I have to go and compare our existing carb count sheets to this menu cycle and update it and make sure that everything is accurate and correct, which is going to be a nightmare. But also they like rarely get used because we have maybe one diabetic patient that actually uses these carb count sheets like one time a year, basically. Like it just doesn't feel worth it, but I'm gonna do that or seriously look into, do we need to be doing this kind of thing? Or is there a way I can make it easier on myself? There's gotta be. I'm all about work smarter, not harder. I'm all about it. Anyway, that was the bulk of what I did at that building today. Then we did start talking about menu stuff. I did show the kitchen manager like how to go in and approve some of the things that I didn't have any really like notes on the policies that we haven't gone through yet. So it's been quite a project, but it is due this month and today's the last day of the month. So, oh my God. There are policies, which is just like protocols, procedures that the hospital needs to follow. And it's just the written rules essentially. So we have to regularly review all of the kitchen and nutrition ones. And I had so many notes because I was so unhappy with the way that the policies were looking. But last week, whenever I was there on Thursday, I like knocked out all of the nutrition and like clinically dietetic-y stuff. I knocked all of those out and updated them, and I left kind of like emergency menu stuff and like food service design and layout, like that kind of stuff. Like I left that because I didn't really have anything profound to say about them. I do have some ideas for some of those the policies, but we started looking at those and I showed her kind of the behind the scenes of how to go in and do some of that. But hopefully I get to finalize that on Wednesday. There are seriously some weird noises. Like I feel like someone's trying to break into my car, but there's no one here. I'm so confused. Do you hear? I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear it because it's not very loud. I should leave because I'm starting to get paranoid. I don't think there's anything else to say. Tomorrow we have a day ahead of us as well, so I'll leave you there. I'm gonna go home. I like to, whenever I'm up here, because this is very far from my house, these group homes, they're like an hour away of a drive. I like to get like fun fast food for dinner, but I'm not really like hungry yet, and I have leftover pizza at home. So what do you think? Should I like go to like Chick-fil-A or something? Because I did Raising Cane's last week, which was fire. Yeah, I'm just not feeling fast food right now. Like I'm just not in the mood. So I'm gonna go home and probably have my leftover pizza. I'll probably be hungry by then, an hour from now, but it is what it is. Okay, toodles. Hi, it's really bright over there, so I'm gonna be squinting at you the whole time. I just arrived to my first place of the day on Tuesday. It's Tuesday morning. I almost started singing that Sunday morning. Sunday morning. Something. I think I'm PMSing, which is odd because I'm on birth control pills, so I kind of just like presumed that that kind of stuff wouldn't hit, but like I'm feeling extremely anxious today, which I'm not enjoying that feeling. And I did get some cramps at some point driving in, so like things aren't great. Things are not great. We're not thriving, but it is what it is. So what do we have going on today? Today is kind of my like nutrition group education session day, typically, historically. I'm not totally sure how this is about to go because we've been out of this routine for a minute, so literally a week. But like I'm just not sure what things are going to look like today. So historically on my Tuesdays, I come to the place that I am now, and both of my buildings today are inpatient psychiatric hospitals. Yeah, they're pretty similar, like kind of a smaller census, like not as many patients, maybe 10 to a dozen-ish or less, depending on that's just like a rough estimate, and both adults and everything. So the place I am now, I had established doing a morning weekly group. However, I didn't come here last week because we just trained on a new dietitian here, and last week she took this building for herself. Like I didn't visit, I just kind of helped her remotely. I kind of chatted about that in last week's videos, but I just helped her and didn't visit myself, and I don't think I did any like charting on any of the patients or anything. But she is out the beginning half of this week, so I was asked to cover, obviously, which is fine. So I'm coming in, and I don't know, Sadie, don't know why that happened, but I don't know if they're planning on me doing a weekly group now, because it's about the time that I would do it, but this is not the time that the other dietitian is going to be able to visit. So I don't know what the group situation is looking like. I'm gonna offer to do it if it makes sense. Getting a notification. my Pikmin Bloom flower planting is in progress. I forgot to turn that off. Whoops. Pikmin Bloom is like an app kind of Pokemon Go-esque. I'll try to remember to put some sort of picture so you know what the heck I'm talking about, but anyway, I started planting flowers on my morning walk with Kyla, and apparently I forgot to stop planting flowers, and I was just yelled at by my watch, so that's cool. Yeah, so I don't know if they're planning on me showing up to do a group. I did tell them I was coming this time, like the time that I usually came in the past. Sorry, I feel like I'm hallucinating right now. I'm in a obviously parking lot, but I just looked that way, and it looks like somebody's sitting in one of the driver's seats, but like it looks like it's a bird. Okay, I should show you because you're gonna think I'm crazy now. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see what's going on. Am I hallucinating? Do you see what I'm talking about? Like, it looks like it's an eagle, but it might just be a person with a mask. So like, let's not be weird, Casey. What was I literally saying? Don't know. So I'm gonna offer to do the group. I'm gonna assess the patients I need to see, say hi to people. I brought this bag. So this bag was given to me by this building like 2 years ago. For some reason, I'm so distracted by that site. I don't know what the heck I'm seeing. I'm sure okay, wow. I'm getting a trillion Snapchat messages right now. Okay, I got this bag from this building years ago. It includes a laptop, like a work laptop, which they seem to think that I need to do any remote work for this place, but like you can do the remote work needed here on any computer, like at all. You just need to like have the two-factor authentication stuff with your phone set up. Like, I don't need a laptop. So this has just been rotting in my closet. And at some point, a dietitian that I trained on before the one that we just trained, I gave her the laptop. And I think I'm gonna leave this bag in the dietitian's office. Whether or not the new dietitian decides to take it, I genuinely don't care because we don't need it. But, we've had some things like missing, like the ID badge. Apparently I need to turn back in. I'm not showing you the actual ID, but this was the dietitian that is not with us anymore that I trained last. So I'm gonna turn that in, even though I don't see what the issue might be. I don't know. And yeah, we've been apparently missing like a set of keys, but the keys would have been attached to the ID badge. So I don't know what's going on, but I think that situation got resolved, hopefully. I don't know, man. I don't know. So I'm just gonna leave this in the office because I don't need it. And I don't want people asking me where certain things are because I'm like, I don't know. So I'm gonna turn this back in. I'm gonna do my stuff and I'll let you know if anything fun and juicy happens, if I have any like interesting nutrition conversations. It's really hit or miss. Again, it's inpatient psych. So like these patients aren't ever here for a nutrition related concern unless like disordered eating is kind of tied in with their mental health. But I don't go to any like eating disorder clinics. Like if they have severe issues and like are in, what am I trying to say? Like a severe situation with their eating disorder, they should not be here. They should be somewhere else. But like if it's been managed or like if it's not severe, I don't know, or if it hasn't been diagnosed yet, sometimes we'll still see that. So what am I talking about? I haven't been able to have my coffee because it was too hot. I put ice cubes in it, but like it was too hot. I haven't been able to drink this. Yeah, ouch. What? Yeah, so I don't often, so okay, these people that are admitted, it's never for anything nutrition related that usually that I'm able to like super support with. Like it's not the primary concern. And also usually they're dealing with mental health symptoms or like detoxing or something. So they're not always extremely receptive and interested to learn about nutrition stuff, but sometimes they are, because I mean, they're just like normal people. And sometimes a normal person like wants to hear about healthy eating from an expert and has questions. So sometimes we have fun, juicy conversations, but sometimes we don't. It's super duper hit or miss, just depending on who's in that week. But if I do have anything fun and fresh to tell you about, I'll let you know. But I just actually looked in here. There's some random papers in here. This is not the handout that I use, but it's kind of similar. What the heck is in here? I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, but yeah, this is for like diabetes. So like this is not even the one I do, but this has something called the MyPlate on it. This is kind of a altered version of it for diabetics, but I usually start off my group just like talking about MyPlate stuff, just to have like a baseline, like this is what we'll talk about if you guys don't have any questions, and I kind of let the conversation just go from there based on whatever it is that they seem interested about. Again, I'll give you kind of a rundown whenever I'm back, but after this building, I'm gonna head back to the other inpatient psych. Kind of a long drive, but the other one's closer to my house. This one's pretty far away. So I'm gonna head there, and then I have a group that afternoon. But I also have a meeting scheduled this afternoon that I kind of forgot about, and maybe that's why I'm so anxious, because maybe I subconsciously didn't forget. I don't know. I have a meeting to talk about like a menu thing. I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll talk about that when it comes up. I guess I'm going in. I don't know why I'm like not wanting to get up. I'm gonna get up. We're gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Okay. Well, salut. Hello. I'm out. So let's recap. I just finished up at the building and I did a variety of things. A myriad of things, if you will. I feel like it's really quiet right now. So I just got really shy out of nowhere. Very odd. Oh, why is it so quiet? Hi. Okay. I did meet with most of the patients to do a group. Like I told you before, usually I just kind of default to talking about the My Plate to give us kind of like a foundation of what we want to chat about nutrition wise, but I do like to leave it open to whatever they have questions about or whatever. So there were 5 people and only 2 of them talked. And minimally at that. So I really didn't have a very highly engaged group. It wasn't really that juicy and fun. Let me think of some of the things we did talk about. I handed out a handout that had a picture of the My Plate, and everyone said that they were familiar with it. They either learned all about it in school or they're people that have been there and heard from me in the past all about it, so they were already familiar, which is weird. I feel like this particular hospital, the length of stay is usually pretty quick, like within 3 to 5, maybe 7 days, or they stay here for like a million years. So strangely, like half the people I already am very familiar with them. But yeah, everyone was very familiar with the My Plate, so I didn't like harp on that very long. I didn't want to bore them to tears. But I did briefly kind of overview why I find it very valuable and helpful and everything. And I kept trying to prod people for different like types of questions and like encourage them to speak on a variety of different topics. Like we talked about appetite. I tried to ask them about like seasonal things, especially just because I've got like spring on the mind right now, and I hear that they're moving to a spring summer menu at this building. Thank goodness I am not involved in that. So like I was just trying to prod them with different types of things that we could talk about, but I mean they just weren't very excited about the topic, which is fine. The only things that we did chat about is one person kind of brought up that she was concerned that she primarily just has fruits, like as far as food groups goes, like she's kind of just eating fruit right now, which at the time like I gave her kind of some education as to why maybe that is. Maybe she's, I'll get to that later, but dehydrated, or maybe she is craving something a little bit more sweet, so that's kind of appealing to her more so right now. But I also try to give her like education and strategies of how to diversify her diet, not necessarily like move away from fruit, but what can we add to the times that we're like eating fruit to make it a little bit more more variety, more diverse of a meal. You know, like what can we pair things with? Like, can we get an apple but put some peanut butter with it, or like grapes with some cheese? Like kind of simple pairings. And I try to like really express that. That's kind of what I think about for snacks in general. Like how can we just not eat one thing on its own? What can we like add in to make something a little bit more nutritiously dense? And she seemed to vibe with some of the suggestions. Like those 2 that I gave are like very basic, like obviously Casey, but some of the other recommendations she was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then the funny thing is, this was one of the patients I'm pretty familiar with, and she's actually someone that I've written a nutrition intervention order to. She's just like regular diet, doesn't have any major nutrition concerns other than this, but like she wasn't drinking any water. So we sent her Gatorade at lunch and dinner with her meal trays. So she has a history of like struggling with her hydration. So it actually makes a lot of sense that she's intuitively wanting more fruit right now. So that was kind of interesting. And then the other person that was a little bit more participatory in the course, the class, the group, her major thing was like financial constraints and how that impacts her ability to get healthy meals and just kind of the things that she's navigating. And that's always a tough topic because like, yes, food is expensive. But we chatted about that for a little while, and my philosophy is like fed is best. Like even if you don't have like the perfect, healthy, optimal, like super foo-foo, organic, like beautiful meals, the fact that you're getting food and nourished is like the best place to start. So like we don't need to stress over perfection, especially when there are kind of big limitations, basically constraints with what we're able to access. So that, and honestly, I think that went pretty well. That one's always a tricky topic, but yeah, the rest of it, not really too conversational. I did have one diabetic person, which is someone that I'm very familiar with in that group, and we chatted afterwards. He's already met with me many times in the past, so I didn't like give him any fresh education necessarily, but we kind of checked in, like how he's doing, how his blood sugar's been. He said that things have been pretty good for him. He doesn't follow a specific diabetic diet typically. While he's on site, I always order him, this is by default for diabetic patients, but I always order a no concentrated sweets for all of our diabetics, just like automatically. And it's not like very different from our regular diet. It just means like basically they aren't offered the like desserts. They're given some sugar-free alternative or a low sugar, low carb alternative. They can still opt to have the sugary thing. They just aren't initially provided it, they're given an alternative so that their blood sugar doesn't spike. And I think there's some other like small changes within the diet too, but like it's not very different from regular. So that's always where we start, just to like not aggravate the diabetes. But if they're on insulin or their blood sugars are out of control, or if they follow a specific diet otherwise, I will order that. Like we do have carb counts and stuff like that too. And he's been here in the past. He's always usually just no concentrated sweets, so that's what I ordered well, it was already ordered for me actually, so that was good. That was nice. But he's no concentrated sweets. He generally loosely will follow like the tier of like carb counts that is pretty closely aligned with a regular diet anyway. So like kind of a general regular diet based on the menu at the hospitals are 45 to 60 grams of carbs per meal usually, and that aligns with a 2,000 calorie diabetic diet. I don't know if I'm making sense right now. But that's loosely what he's been advised to follow. He doesn't track that very meticulously himself. He thinks he does pretty well with his meals, and he thinks if anything his snacks are just a little bit too reliant on carbohydrates. So we talked about like things that we can pair with, kind of like the fruit thing, honestly, like how we can make it something that's not going to spike his blood sugar significantly, like things that are going to absorb in a more stable fashion, alternatives that he could have for snacks, that kind of thing. But we're not ordering any interventions right now. We're going to see how things look. And yeah, so we did talk about diabetes for a while, but nothing new and profound. I didn't have any blood sugar on him yet because he literally just got here like last night. There probably was one written down. I didn't even really get to have his physical chart to see that stuff just because a doctor was using it. But let's see. Then I met with the director of nursing because this hospital is kind of in flux with like who's going to be coming and doing the visits and the assessments and all that stuff. We're kind of going through a change where I just trained somebody, and my understanding was that it's just going to be her long term, but it looks like maybe that's not gonna work out. So I don't really know long term how that's all gonna fall into place yet. But I did chat with the director of nursing about that and gave her some more information, answered some of her questions, because I haven't seen her in a while either because we've kind of missed each other. We've been passing ships in the night. I turned in some stuff to her. I forget if I showed you, I had a laptop that I don't really need that was checked out to me for this building. I left that in my locked office here, and I did tell someone about it who didn't even know that we had a checked out laptop in my name. So yikes. It was so long ago, so honestly it probably just got pushed back or forgotten essentially. But I was asked about like my key fob number because we were having some situation with our keys, just trying to like line up what is checked out, what's being used, are we missing anything. So I provided my key fob number, but I know when I first was hired I had like this form with all the different things that were assigned to me or like checked out to me. So I'm gonna try to find that when I'm home and send that to her, and I told her that. And that's where I also added in like, by the way, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I have this laptop. I don't really need it. I'm leaving it here right now. I'm happy to like turn it into someone if that helps you. But she was like, I didn't even know that was happening. So yeah, things are a little bit crazy. So I did that for some of the buildings. Some of them want like report stuff. I don't know how to describe that. So essentially here, there's two things that I submit each month. So one of them is like an hour log, just so they can compare that to the bill that they receive from my company, just to make sure everything aligns, because of course it's good to double check, I guess, but not every place I go requires that, but they just have me do that. So I submitted that for the March hours. I get those things done by the 5th of each month. So today was my first visit. It's April 1st. Happy Fool's Day. Did we talk about that? I mean, there's nothing to talk about, but I submitted the hour log. We have two different ones because we bill like our general clinical role stuff separately from the actual groups that we do. So I accumulate the time I spend prepping, printing stuff, meeting with the patients for the group, and then charting on them. I'll add all of that and put that on 1 hour log, and then all of my other work goes into a different hour log. So I submitted both of those today, as well as the other report, which is, I forget what it stands for, but it's P&T, performance, and I think it's the same thing as PI at other places. Performance indicator? I don't know what P&T is. I have no idea. But essentially, there's like this committee for performance indicator things that I've only gone to a couple of calls on in the past, because usually they're happening a day that I'm not covering this building and I don't usually get enough notice, but they only meet quarterly. So it's been very hit or miss. I've only attended a few and I've been here for years. But every single month I send to the committee list basically a summary of all of my nutrition consults that month. So I have an ongoing document that has like a tally basically of how many referrals I got, how many follow-ups I did, how many weren't appropriately referred to me but should have been, like that kind of stuff. So I submitted that today as well, which I am able to do because each visit I keep like a tracker of what assessments I did that day. Just makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, I turned all that in, and then I started new logs for April today. obviously. And I think that's it. I followed up on a couple of questions. What am I even saying? I think I've just lost the plot. What was I about to say? Oh, so one of the questions the director of nursing was asking me about is about like our policy for how long of a time frame we get between when someone is referred for a nutrition consult and when we've assessed them. And it's 72 hours, and I knew that, and I told her, but I found the policy that we use that actually states that, and I sent that along to her, along with a question about like heights and weights, because I've had an ongoing question here about like, are we consistently getting like weights for the patients? One of the nurses is like, I know we used to do weekly weights on our patients, but like they haven't been doing it. And I currently have 2 of the like longer term patients that I've ordered monthly weights on, so they're due to get weighed in the next couple of days. But yeah, I had a question mark in my mind about weights for our patients, especially the ones that are with us a little bit longer. So I dug through the policies and I found one that kind of gave somewhat of an answer to my question, but it's not even for this building. It's for like a different hospital in this company, if that makes sense. So I asked her about that too. I don't know, man. I'm just thinking out loud right now. I'm gonna go over to my other place. I may potentially have a meeting today. I think I grimaced thinking about that earlier. So clearly I'm very excited. So once I get there, I will have roughly an hour before I have another group like the one I did here. I think last time I was here at that place, there were only like 4 patients. So I'm curious how that's gonna look now. If it's like the same people or if they've admitted a whole host of new clients for me to see, I don't know. Doesn't really matter to me either way. I'll still try to round them up and it'll be fine. But after that, shortly after that, I believe, is when I potentially have a meeting to talk about the menu, because we've been trying to get changes done on this menu for the other hospital. They've had a 2-week cycle menu that has just been like so irritating to me, because it was just like a Word document that had like 2 pages that are the actual menu cycle. Like page 1 is week 1 cycle and page 2 is week 2 cycle with all the different meals. But then there's like 50 pages after that that have like the standardized recipes and stuff, and like it's fine because they need standardized recipes, but like apparently, first of all, I just learned this like in the last month, the recipes aren't even right because it assumes that they're using a different oven than what they have. So like all of the like temps and times are apparently wrong, so that's cool. I didn't know that until literally in the last month. But also, like, every time I have to make any changes to the menu, I have to go into the standardized recipe, and like it's just very meticulous. It's very tedious and I hate it, and I've been trying to find a way to move away from it, and my pushing has involved me trying to get a formal report done by someone in my company that's more in the menu sphere and like writes a lot of like menus, and I thought they would provide a nice fancy form for me to just like give to the building, and hopefully it would have the standardized menu thing so I don't have to do that. But it's become a whole thing, and we're just like really having a hard time making any like progress with it. So we last week just threw together having a meeting today. We'll see how that goes. The intention is that we're kind of looking at it and thinking maybe we can just have a 1-week menu cycle and then have like each meal have an always available type of thing, just because they don't get a lot of variety with what they're able to access and prepare for their clients because of the way their kitchen's set up. They aren't able to like cook from scratch a lot of stuff. A lot of it's like casserole type of thing or things they could just have to heat up, and that's like kind of their limitation for their kitchen. So there was a lot of redundancy, a lot of like recurring items on the menu, so we're thinking about cutting it down to just 1 week, just so we can put all like the best things and a lot of variety within that 1 week, and then have some always available things as alternatives if patients don't want that. And the length of stay for that specific place is also quite short. Like, it's like here where they don't stay very long, but they tend to not have the long haulers like we do here, where they just like stay for months somehow. It tends to just be in and out essentially for them. So like a 1 week cycle should be fine for them. But yeah, more to come on that because I haven't had that meeting yet. I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm gonna go. I gotta eat some lunch. I'm hungry. Okay, doodles. Hi. It's Wednesday. I'm like 90% sure I did not follow up with you after my second place yesterday. Like 90% sure. Okay, so let's recap. I also don't remember anything I said yesterday to you, so I really hope I'm not repeating myself for the next 10 minutes straight. I really hope. But let's chit chat. So I went to my second building yesterday and I did a nutrition group. Oh my God, you guys, wait, that was actually... It's funny because I have 2 scheduled groups every single week, but I still remain to be baffled Was that sentence coherent? I don't know. You know what I mean. I still remain baffled every time that I successfully gather up more than like 2 people for one of my groups. Part of that's because of the lower census at both of those buildings, and part of that's just like engagement wise. And also I have like this curse where every time I go to the second building, no matter if it's that day for like my scheduled afternoon thing or any other time I visit, it seems like it's patient snap time every time. Everybody's asleep. So like that's part of the issue. I just remembered I'm wearing my glasses. I can't see without my glasses. I actually can see without my glasses just fine, but it was raining. It's been raining. I don't think it's raining right now, so I don't think you're gonna hear anything, but it is supposed to rain just like all day. And it actually was hailing for a second this morning. That was spooky. Like I was getting ready, I got out of the shower and everything, and all of a sudden I'm like, why is it so freaking loud out there? And so I like open the bathroom door and I peek out there, and Kyla's all curled up on the couch, and I see her like looking up at the window. She isn't spooked by anything, but she like reacted, and I found out that that's when it was hailing. But she had just that reaction. That like look was her only reaction. She didn't care after that. She's a fearless little thing. Fearless. She does not care about storms. She doesn't care about fireworks. We literally can hang out outside in like the backyard on the 4th of July when there's fireworks going crazy. She doesn't care. We're off topic. We'll get back to topic in a second. I don't know. But literally, I put on TV, like YouTube TV stuff sometimes, where it can be like dog entertainment things, where it's just like a field with like, I don't know, animals going around, so she can like watch that or whatever. And she's not always like highly invested, but I think it's good for her mental enrichment sometimes. I don't know if it really matters, but she seems to only care about specific types of videos. For a while she was into like baby animals, like it would just go between different species and show like baby animals playing, and she liked that a little bit. But she tends to enjoy when it's like dogs playing together. She loses interest in that really quickly, but she does like get locked in for like 2 minutes, and then she doesn't care for the rest of the like hours of the video. And she really likes cats and birds. I think that if the birds are like loud, it holds her attention. Like she likes the ducks and stuff, and like chickens. Like I don't know why we're talking about this. I do, but like I don't really know how we really got this far into it. But for a while there, I even put on like fireworks stuff, and she like would watch that with all the colors and everything for a bit. So she is fearless. She does not care about weather or any loud noises or anything like that. Anyway, it was hailing this morning. Why am I talking about the weather today? I don't know. Back to yesterday. Group. I gathered up, I think it was like 5 people. There were 6 patients and I got 5 of them. One of them was asleep because it's always nap time, like I said, but like only one of them was actually asleep. It was like very successful. However, the actual group, I would not say was that successful. Yeah, it was kind of a flop. It was a little bit of a flop, okay? Like, all right, it was exciting. Everyone was like, yeah, I'll come, and like got up and went to the group. Even a couple of people, like the patients that other staff were telling me like, yeah, they're not really participating, blah, blah, blah. Even those people came. So I was like, oh, sweet. Like, I'm just so popular today. Yeah, we gathered, and only like one person was asking questions that like were like reasonable for the setting. Like I went through my general spiel or whatever. Spiel? Don't know. Choose one of the above. I was going through my general thing, and he was asking like insightful questions and actually like being very engaged with like, this is what I'm struggling with nutrition wise. What advice do you have? So we talked about like low motivation with mental health and everything to like procure and cook and prepare food. Because that's obviously very common, especially in a mental health setting like where we are. Yeah, he was really struggling with actually having the desire and motivation and like executive function to plan meals, go shopping, prepare them. Even like he had discovered that was an issue and was trying to find convenient options or whatever, and he was still like really struggling with it. So we chatted actually quite a bit about that. But then the other patients, like 2 of them didn't talk the whole time, which is totally fine. They were sitting there and they were observing the session and like were participating. They just didn't have their own personal questions, which is totally fine. I always thank everyone for coming at all, you know, like if you're just here to listen and watch, like that's totally fine. But 2 of them were just, so we had 5 total, so now we've talked about 3 of the 5. The other 2 were not receptive, should we say. One of them is very interested in nutrition. I actually know both of these 2 that were not a good fit for the group pretty well, actually, either because they've been here for a while or they've been in and out of the hospital, so I'm just familiar with them. It's always a red flag, not really, but like whenever I recognize a name, because I go so many places, it's like why do I have like a memory of this person? Why do they have such a, I don't know, impression on me when I just see their name? It's like if the like substitute teacher learns your name, like, what did you do? Or like the teacher learns your name too quickly at the beginning of the school year, like you got their attention. Maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. No, so one of them was very interested in nutrition and everything, but severity of symptoms was not like following the flow of the conversation, which understandable, that happens. And she was like trying to participate, engage, and like stayed on topic about food related things, but then she was like reacting to internal stimuli and saying she started like blurting in and interrupting some of the other conversations we were having with like inappropriate statements, and eventually she's like, I'm gonna go, and I'm like, it's probably a good idea. Love that for you. But then the other one, I don't know, he has like something against me. Some of them are so funny, and it's so hard not to just like kind of laugh about it because they're taking it very seriously, and I'm just like, I can see this for what it is, and it's ridiculous. But he was like, he's someone that has peppered me with random obscure nutrition related questions in the past, like quizzing me like over and over and over. Like we don't even have a like flow of conversation. It's like question. So I don't even know if he's like benefiting from it or if he's just like trying to come up with questions for me to answer and see if I can answer them, you know? Like I don't know how it's like super beneficial, but I always like entertain it. I tell him the answers, my true thoughts and everything. Some of them are kind of obscure questions that don't have like very clear-cut answers. So I try to get into it, figure out what he's like really asking me or like what brought up that question, but then like a new question comes up, you know? In the past, he was really gung-ho for like 40 days of fasting. Like he had a lot of like, his thoughts were around like religious and spirituality things. So he was like really mad at me that I didn't want him to not eat for 40 days because he's like, but that's like biblical, like it's so spiritual. And I'm like, but it's not healthy to not eat for 40 days. And like, it was weird. So anyway, this time, yesterday, what was it? He was for some reason really fixated on the government. He thought that I worked for the government, and he was like asking me strange questions in that sphere and like was really irritated about my role and like food and nutrition stuff for the government. Like there was some very specific question about like what's wrong with grains, which was a strange question initially because like we're going over the My Plate image and a fourth of the plate says grains on it. Like I always describe it as starches, so like we want a fourth of our meal to have some sort of starch-based food just to have a balanced plate. So like that's usually a grain. So I was like, first of all, I was like, that's when it was hard for me to like rein it in and like try to have like a good conversation, because I was like, what do you mean what's wrong with grains? Like in my mind I'm like, what? where is this coming from? But I try to be like, I don't really know what you're asking me, like can you explain more? And he was thinking that, I don't know, I was like working for the government and like we had some shipping container where we locked up a bunch of grains and wouldn't give them to the other countries, and he was really mad at me. So that was interesting. It was an interesting conversation. He also randomly said something about me playing tennis and how I told them I played tennis, and I had never said that ever in my whole life. I have played tennis in the past, but I was like, where is this coming from? Like, what's happening? But it's always an interesting thing talking to some of these people that are having more severe symptoms. Like, I'm laughing about it, but like, of course he's dealing with mental health symptoms and like, I want him to get better, but like, we must laugh or we will cry, right? You know? But no, he's not like mean or anything. It was just like, clearly we were not seeing eye to eye in that conversation. So we'll try again. If he's still here next time I'm there, it'll be fine. But yeah, that was the group. So after the group, I had a planned meeting to talk about their menu situation. I think I kind of mentioned that before in the past. I cannot remember how much depth I did in describing that, but basically, I don't really want to talk about it right now because I need to like start my workday today. So like, I don't really want to talk about that right now. We might come back to it because it's an ongoing thing. I have homework actually, so that's really fun. Oh, I have a lot of homework this week. What the heck? Why did I do that to myself? Anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, we had a scheduled meeting. It got pushed back a little bit because one of the people we were meeting with was running a little bit late, but that was not a big deal. Like it was like 10 to 15 minutes late. It was not a big deal, but that gave me some time to like chart on every single patient beyond like the group session. I only had 1 or 2 of them due for actual nutrition assessments, but I had talked to all of them obviously. So I went ahead and did follow-up assessments for everybody. Yeah, we had our meeting. We talked about menu stuff. So we're moving from a 2-week cycle to a 1 week, and we're going to trial that for like a month and a half once we finalize the menu. So we were trying to pick out the best meals that they serve, or like what's the most popular with the patients, and like how are we going to structure this. So we kind of went through, and it took quite a bit, but like I have one of our printouts like marked up with basically what we're going to try. And we picked out, what's 7 times 3, 21, right? 21 meals. and we're gonna have some always available options. So I need to like restructure that and formalize it, and yeah, that's my homework. So the meeting was good though. Then we went into the kitchen just to look at some things. I don't know, nothing really that fun and zesty to report. They're doing a bit of reorganizing right now because there's like all this drama right now currently about the corrugated boxes, cardboard boxes. They are technically a pest control risk because like eggs could be in the boxes or something. Like there's some risks associated, so like you either need to have proper procedures to minimize and assure that you are like avoiding the risk of that and monitoring the situation, or you need to move away from having cardboard boxes. So they are in the process of moving to different like totes and stuff. So they're taking all the things out of the cardboard boxes, so we're trying to work with them to figure out how to make sure that it's still going 100% according to plan, because a lot of these cardboard boxes have a lot of the information that you need to have, like the delivery date, the use by date, like specifics about what the product actually is. So you need everything dated and labeled and everything. So they're moving everything from these cardboard boxes to these other totes, and they've done a good job so far of like labeling the totes with what the product is, but they're not so far able to like have a good clear thing for the rest of the information that they might need. So we kind of help brainstorm with them about that, about how they could make that an easy part of their process. So it looked really good though. Like they're making really quick work of it, and I'm impressed at how fast they're turning that around. Oh, I'm getting kind of cold. What the heck? Yeah, I don't know. Nothing else that fun. But yeah, right now, I'm at a hospital. It was one that I did on Monday. I think I've called this clunky hospital in the past, which is rude, but it's just because I don't like their charting system. I'm not very familiar with this building. I have been going here about twice a week for like the last month. So, I mean, I'm familiar with it, but like I haven't been here a very long time. And this is the first time I'm going on a Wednesday. Usually it's a Monday and Friday thing, but there's gonna be other dietitian coverage on Friday, so I'm like, I'll come on Wednesday. So hopefully I don't have much work to do. My Monday here was really quick and easy. It was wonderful. So that was nice. So I won't plan on leaving a ton of work for the person that's coming in on Friday, but I might leave a little bit just because I have to go to my main building. I have to go to the other psych place. That takes all day. So that's gonna be super fun. Okay, we'll chat more later. I'm gonna go get started with my work and I don't know, sit there and cry probably. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, I did start getting emotional because I'm listening to my audiobook still, the one that I talked about before, the like Serpent of Wings and Night, Crowns of Nyaxia thing. And for some reason, I thought I wasn't gonna love this book. I feel like I heard one of the people I follow on like BookTube talk about it and what they weren't like jazzed about it. They weren't wowed by the book. So I was like not thinking I was gonna be all into it, but I'm like fully into it. Like so far, I think I have like 2 hours left of the audiobook. This is going to be a 5-star for me. Like I'm about it. Some of the things that are happening right now towards the end, I started getting emotional. Like there's like this one character that's kind of like significantly side character. Like they are not part of the main plot necessarily, but like, I don't know. I was really feeling for them. They were like, I don't know. It was making me emotional. I'm also probably starting my period today, so that's probably part of it. But anyway, I'm not actually gonna cry. I'm not much of a crier, but I almost did. So anyway, I'm gonna go. Alrighty. Hello there. Alrighty. I'm done with place number 2. Wait, what? I'm not actually. I'm done with place number 1. I'm losing my mind actually. Yeah, so it was a little bit heavier of a day than it was earlier this week. It's kind of more of a day that I expect to have here. But nothing too extravagant. Most of my patients were recovering from knee surgery. What is that called? We're gonna go with just knee surgery, okay? So I provide them nutrition education for overall wellness and wound healing and stuff like that. So that was kind of the bulk of my conversations. There was one patient who's lost like 70 pounds in the last year and is underweight and hasn't been able to eat very well, and like for the last month has been chronically having issues with like vomiting and diarrhea, so losing nutrition that way. So that was not great, but like he's in a decent place now. Like he's on medication and it's helping his appetite and his symptoms, and is very motivated to regain some weight and eat as able. So I gave him some education too and ordered some nutrition interventions. I'm still a little fuzzy on what is preferred as far as nutrition interventions here, but he's just on a regular diet. He has his own supply of like snacks and protein drinks that he brought, I think, but I don't really know the rules on that whole thing. But I'm gonna provide well, I ordered it with the kitchen manager on my way out, protein shakes from the facility after meals. So that's kind of what I'm a little fuzzy on. I forget which protein shakes are available at each building I go to because I get so confused because they're all like similar but a little different. And then I forget what each like hospital prefers in terms of like when to order it, because some of them, if you don't order it with a meal tray, the patient's not going to get it because it just gets missed, right? So some of them prefer it that way, but I really like it to be between meals or after meals so that the patient gets a chance to eat the actual food, the food first, and then have the extra support. The patient was like on board with that. He's like, yeah, I know I won't be able to eat if I drink this. So I would do it after a meal anyway. So I think we're going to send a couple of them on meal trays and have one available in the nursing unit for each evening. So hopefully that goes well. Hopefully that works. That was about all I did. So that was kind of fun. I also started a mini like guide for the other dietitian that I'm currently splitting this hospital thing with. She's currently on maternity leave, and I just remember how confused I was coming back after literal months of not being here and just like having to rediscover how to figure out everything. So I thought it would be helpful and really nice of me to like give her a mini guide to like help ease her back into the flow of it. So I just kind of showed her like, this is the icon you press when you open the like your computer dashboard. Then like this is how you get to like this part of the nutrition, the like patient's chart, without any actual information of course, but like giving her enough context so she knows where to find different things. Because remember, my nickname for this hospital was Clunky Hospital because their charting system is nonsense. And I had that was the hardest part for me, like remembering like, where do I find this information? Like I couldn't find how to figure out the meal intake percentages because they have to be recorded somewhere, but I could not figure out for the life of me where it was recorded until like I finally asked somebody and they're like, oh, this is how. And it was like so obvious, but like it was just such an easy thing to miss. So I included some of that kind of thing for her, and hopefully that all helps her. So that didn't take too much of my time, but we just did a little extra work for that. And it's a little bit later in the day than I would like for it to be to get started at another workplace, but here we go. It is what it is. We're gonna head over there. We're gonna go over to my what I consider my main building, inpatient charting hospital, my inpatient psych, mostly children. I don't know if I'm going to see the food service manager there today or not. She doesn't usually work on Wednesdays. Today's Wednesday, but we do like to be able to see each other in person because there's so many like moving parts right now. So she planned on potentially switching shifts with another one of the food service employees, so I might be seeing her. I feel bad that it's going to be like probably towards the end of her shift, but yeah, I gotta check in with some things with her and just do like general, you know, seeing who I need to see. There is one patient that I was referred to talk to on Monday because they're on a vegetarian diet and their parent wanted me to chat with them because the parent is concerned that the kid's probably not eating enough protein. Which, who knows, could be true. However, I feel personally like victimized by that because I actually followed personally a vegan diet for 5 years. So I'm like, I know that you can absolutely, it just annoys me because that's always the first thing people say whenever they think of like plant-based eating is like, not the protein, like you're not getting enough protein. You can totally get enough protein. It's so goofy to me, but like, I think that's a personal gripe. I'm sure this kid would benefit from some education, potentially, so they're on my list today, and then whoever I get referred. I've been getting 0 referrals for the last week straight, though, so, like, we'll see what happens. I need to eat some lunch so I can think. Okay, we're gonna go do that. She's doing her morning lounge, her sunbathing, and oh my goodness, it's bright, my guy. Okay, that's gonna be a problem. Whatever. Okay, we're just gonna do this for a sec. I have like a bunch of water related things going on in the house. I have my dishwasher running and my laundry machine, so I thought it would be better out here, but now I'm realizing I was probably wrong. Very, very bright. But today is Thursday. I don't think we chatted after I was done with my last building yesterday. I'll have to remember what the heck was going on and we'll recap later. But today's Thursday. I do not have anywhere to go in person today. And I just went through my work bag and it was a mess. I have so much nonsense in there. So there's a lot of like homework I've basically given myself recently. And I'm thinking I might try to knock some of that out. That was loud. I might try to knock some of that out today. Let's see. I do have an appointment in the next hour for a med review for my psychiatrist for my ADHD meds, and I need to go to Walgreens and pick up my prescriptions. But other than that, I don't really have anything that needs to happen today. So I do think we'll knock out some remote work. So I think I have like 3 stacks right now. One of them is kind of organizing a menu draft, a 1-week menu cycle for one psych place based on a meeting that I had on Tuesday and what we agreed on. I was just going to draft it up and submit it, and we could all look at it and see what might need to be changed again. Oh gosh, that's loud. What if I sit in the other chair? Oh gosh. Oh, I should not sit in the other chair. I need to wash these. What if I stand? How about that? Oh gosh, it's messy back here. Oh, that is so much more comfortable. Not squinting. Okay, so I have to draft up that one week menu cycle and submit that. I also need to write my report for my Monday group home visit. That shouldn't take me too long because there weren't a lot of like new recommendations or significant changes with those patients or clients, so that should be easy, and I really do need to get that done. I was hoping to get that done sooner, but this week has been chaotic. And then the other stack of stuff is for like my bigger building, paper charting building, the psych hospital with a lot of patients and a lot of kids and stuff like that. I have some like policy stuff and menu stuff and all kinds of nonsense to work on there. And then I also, these aren't stacks I had, but I have some notes to myself of like things that I want to go through electronically and maybe reorganize or improve or whatever. I'll show you that when it comes up because I don't really know how to describe that in a way that makes sense right now. But yeah, trying to think of what I want to do before my appointment because I don't know if I have like enough time to like complete any of those particular tasks. Okay, no, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go to my appointment, pick up my meds, and then we'll chat again when I'm back and starting one of my tasks or when I'm in the middle of something. I don't know. We'll chat in a minute, okay? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling so great. I'm not, and I'm debating what my course of action needs to be. Either I'm gonna have some coffee. I'm almost certainly gonna have some coffee regardless of what I say next. Like that's almost a given. Or I need to take a painkiller or my Nurtec, my like prescribed migraine medication. Maybe a combo, maybe 2 out of 3, or maybe even all 3. We'll find out. I'm gonna have some iced coffee, I think, with lunch because that kind of sounds fun and zesty. Because I have these like K-cups. I don't really use K-cups, but I had like these iced hazelnut flavored coffee. Iced what? K-cups? What's happening to me? Yeah, and I haven't been using them. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, my fiance Dan, you can have them. Like you like iced coffee and you'd add creamer and stuff like all up in it because he doesn't actually like coffee. But then I forgot hazelnut is a nut and he's like deathly allergic to nuts, including hazelnuts. So that, I don't know if there's like real hazelnut in it, but like he can't drink that. So I need to go through them or get rid of them. So I think that kind of sounds fun. Kind of a weird combo though. I'm gonna have it with my leftover pizza. That's like getting a little bit old. Like it's kind of questionable if I should really even be eating it. But we're gonna try. We're gonna eat some of it. My appetite's not super high, and I think it's because I'm likely probably nauseous, which is always a weird situation because my nausea is not very like up front and center. Like whenever I'm nauseous, I don't realize I'm nauseous. It's just like I'm not interested in food or I'm like low appetite. Like I don't know that it's nausea until I like sit here and think about it. I'm like, oh, I'm nauseous. Like, because I'm so used to being nauseous so frequently and recurringly because of migraine, and I don't ever almost vomit at all. So I've just like kind of trained my body to ignore that signal from my brain. So I'm probably nauseous, which is why my appetite's not super high, but I'm gonna have some coffee. I'm gonna eat whatever leftover pizza I'm able to get my hands on, and if it isn't good, I have other food in the fridge. Yeah, okay, oh my gosh, okay. Wait, I should turn a light on. The lighting's probably awful. Is it awful? Okay, so I just recently got home and I'm heating up the food, obviously, but I went to my psych appointment, my med review, no changes, nothing significant to share with that, just kind of doing the same thing as usual. Although, like, I have my eyebrow raised because one of the medications I'm on was to help with, like, alleviation of anxiety and PMDD symptoms, and I have not been dealing with that nearly as drastically the last couple months because I started a birth control pill. So I don't really know how necessary the anxiety pill is, because I mean, I have anxiety, like, let's be so for real, but like, it's not debilitating, and it's not been as significant severe with the addition of the birth control pill. Now, is that because I'm taking the anxiety med, or is it because of my hormones being better regulated? Who's to say? I don't know. But I kind of have my brow raised because like I swear my psychiatrist also has ADHD, because her communication style, I love it, but also it's like, I don't actually know what you're instructing me to do, like with anything. So she said something that has me thinking like a question mark about if I really need to be taking the anxiety med, because when we first brought it up and she first ordered it for me, it was kind of a discussion of me starting to take it in the later half of my menstrual cycle, like luteal phase and on, because that's when my symptoms would get so severe. But since my cycle was irregular somewhat at the time, we just started taking it daily. But like, I don't know if she wants me taking it daily just in the last half of my period or at all. Like, I'm a little bit unsure. And she said something that was like not definitive in our appointment. I didn't think about it until I was up and out of the building. I was like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. But I did get a refill after the appointment. I was actually on my way over to Walgreens, but then I was like, let me check my library app, because I have not checked out a physical book at the library forever, because I'm trying to get through my physically owned books through like what I have on my bookshelf. And I'm like trying to ban myself from like bringing other things into my home, physical book wise. But I did, oh God, ow. But I did read that audiobook I told you about, The Serpents of Wing and Night, and I was obsessed with it. But like the Libby app, which is like my library audiobook and ebook app, doesn't have any more books in the series, either as ebooks that I could send to my Kindle or audio. And I'm like, what do I do? Because like, I know there's at least one more book in the series. So I was like, where can I find it? And I actually had it on my little to-do list of like, find somewhere to get the rest of the books, because I was just so into it. And I saw that, of course, the physical book is at the library. So I put a hold on it and I just picked it up, and now I have it. I'm very excited. However, I'm in the middle of like a 1,000 page book, so I'm not gonna be able to read this right away. I forget how long I have this checked out. And I know I'm gonna be tempted, if it's like a somewhat short amount of time, to drop and like pause my long book and read this next. We'll find out. We'll see what I do. I'm gonna really try to do one thing at a time. I was just like very ambitious and excited. I saw that it was ready and I'm like, let me go pick it up right now. So I went to the library, and on my way back from the library, I was like, okay, let me go to the pharmacy, because I wasn't sure if I was gonna have an additional prescription to pick up, because I had just left my psychiatry office, but it just wasn't ready yet, which is fine, because I have enough of my ADHD pills for a while longer. It's not urgent, but I did have other things to pick up. So I also got some prescriptions picked up, the anxiety pills that I don't know if I need, and then my monthly injection for migraine prevention. So I've done my little things, and I have opened my laptop, and we're going to start doing some remote work. Although I was kind of thinking tomorrow my workload is way light again, which is so weird. My schedule's so weird right now, because there's one building that, the main building, my like physical chart building, paper charting building, the one that can take all day. I usually would go there on Fridays, but I've been splitting it with another dietitian, and she's been going Fridays. She's gonna be leaving and quitting, kind of. She might be helping me out on some weekends occasionally. What was I saying? So like, I'm gonna be having that back on my radar on Fridays again, but not this week and not next week. So I don't have to go there. And then my hospital that I've gone to twice this week, the one that's kind of somewhat new to me, I've been going there Mondays and Fridays lately, but they have other coverage set up for this Friday. So I went yesterday instead. So I have two of my like heavier workload things off of my schedule tomorrow. So the only thing I have to like go in and do is the really quick psych place near-ish my house, which is usually like maybe an hour like of seeing patients. So I don't really have to do that much like actual work today / tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I think first priority, other than eating lunch and like taking care of the symptoms that are starting up, because I'm feeling kind of yucky. My head's starting to get a little bit, it's not like pain yet. It's so hard to describe. Like, pain is definitely a part of it, but I don't know. I just feel weird. The caffeine will help. The food will hopefully help. And I should take a painkiller. I just feel like I've been taking a lot of painkillers lately, and I think it's because of a few reasons. I have not been tracking my migraine at all, so it's good and important to track like how frequently you're getting symptoms, how severe, what triggers them, like what's the early warning signs, like are your medications working? It's good to track all of those things, and I've definitely done that a lot in the past, but lately I've been really not doing that because I've been pretty stable. But I feel like I've had a lot more flare-up symptom-wise in the last couple weeks, and I think it's a combination of like we're in springtime, so the weather is unhinged, and not that weather is like a major driving force with my migraine, but like it's not helping the fact that we're having like all 4 seasons in the span of 1 day or 2 days. Like it's not helping. And also just like the significant increase in stress with like just not having a clue what's going on with my workload right now for my consistent work week schedule situation. That's absolutely not helping. I'm very sensitive to changes of stress levels, like whether it's all of a sudden I have no stress and like no responsibilities, that really sets me off, but so does like prolonged elevated levels of stress. I just don't handle it very well. So that's probably the main thing. And also I am on my period this week, kind of. I don't know. Last month on my new birth control pills, I started bleeding early and then continue to bleed, but I don't think I've really been bleeding yet, even though I'm theoretically on day 2 of the actual period based on my pills. So I'm a little confused. It's fine. I definitely feel periody, so that is also extremely not helpful because I am very reactive to changes in hormone levels, which was one of the reasons I started the birth control pills, because the changes in hormones was what really was actually completely debilitating. Like I used to be like not functional for an entire week with my period because of migraine, because it would always set me off and it was always impossible to treat. Now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm realizing that it's not gone. The hormones are definitely a part of what's going on with me and why I'm getting symptoms right now. So I should probably be a little bit more, gung-ho with treating it right now, because these attacks around my menstrual cycle are famously impossible to treat. So I should probably throw everything at it because that's my best shot of actually getting rid of those symptoms. Anywho, what am I talking about? I have no idea. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. I'm actually gonna shut up right now. Okay. Yes, I did turn the lights off again. I just finished task 1 plus some lunch, plus some coffee and painkiller, and I'm feeling okay. It took me longer than I thought. Like I was like, this report thing is not gonna take me very long because none of the people at that home, the group home, had many changes. Like I got all of their weights and they all ate well, so like there wasn't really much to report, but for some reason it still took me over an hour to get that done. So that was weird. Why did that happen? Why did that take me so long? Why am I freezing? Since we're usually out for the day, our thermostat usually automatically like kicks down to 65 degrees Fahrenheit during the workday, but I'm kind of like, it shouldn't be doing that because I put it back up to 68, but I'm freezing. So I'm gonna have to check that and see if it went back down to 65 or if I need to get a little higher than 68 because I'm cold. Okay. Okay, so I am done with that. And random side note, how do I tell you about this? You know what? No. Okay, let me show you what I just did to submit this report because maybe it'll be interesting. I'm just realizing now that I'm gonna have to like blur a bunch of stuff if I show you much in depth though. So, Ooh, let me just show you the like templates. I'll just show you my note templates and then we'll talk more in a sec. Okay, I'm gonna turn around and find all that and I'll be right back. Sorry, now it's gonna look a little bit weird here, but this is the template. This is like the main report that they can review for like at a glance information. And then I send a separate document that has full assessment notes for all of the clients. So here is just like a quick, like checklist thing. These should all ideally be a yes. And then I'll put like follow up and then date of next visit. And then here's just kind of some sanitation checklist stuff. Again, these should all be a yes theoretically, but I have some notes if there's anything just to make a note of. Yeah, this is all pretty vague for you right now, but here is where it's like the at a glance information. Like I'll have the date, which home I'm at, and then all the clients' first names and last initials. If it's a new thing or I'm just following up or if they were referred specifically, stuff like that, I'll put in like this column, and then what my observations were. So for my other hospitals where I send reports, usually there's not a ton of info here, but since this is a little bit more like, less frequent essentially, I ended up putting a lot more information in here. Just for them to very easily review my recommendations or the observations I had that were significant. Now this is what the like full assessment note looks like. So I kind of have some things pre-filled out in here, but I update that if relevant, of course, and then have their height, their usual body weight range, and then their current weight and BMI, and just kind of a list of their previous weights and if they've had any significant changes. In this section, I put observations of like what I'm seeing at mealtime, like did they eat everything, safe use of utensils, like what was going on, how was their pace of feeding, did they need any staff support or like reminders to like continue eating, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's usually what goes in here. And the assessment's kind of more like a clinical like nutrition review, like talking about their weight changes, what kind of appetite changes they've had, that kind of stuff, and like notes about any discussion I have with them. Then I have these kind of just template of recommendations for what I want to see, and then a nutrition related goal. And yeah, then I sign off. So yeah, this is kind of what it looks like. So I filled this out for every single patient, and then I took it all and went to the at a glance thing, and then I downloaded both of these, completed of course, and sent an email to people that need to see it at the home. So that is kind of what I just did. And I was working off of like previously existing versions of this from my last visits, so it shouldn't have taken as long as it did, I feel like, but maybe I just underestimated how much work it was gonna really be. Yeah, I don't know, but it's done now. So next I'm trying to think what I wanna do next. What do I want to do next? So I do have something that I should absolutely do. Let's flip you back around. Well, yeah, let's flip you back around. Okay, I can't see anything. I'm gonna work on this menu. So this is for the place that I'm going to be going to in person tomorrow. I want to get this done ASAP. So I already have like these Google Docs or like Word documents essentially with basically 2 pages that look like this. And I'm going to copy it and consolidate it to just be a 1-week menu cycle. I'm hoping that won't be too tedious. That's what I'm going for. We're gonna try it. We're gonna see how it ends up looking. I also hope this doesn't take me incredibly long, but I could be surprised again. Then I just have some additional notes that I made to myself here. I don't know. Yes. I also have a bunch of random pictures on my phone from when I had this meeting to talk about this menu, and I like apparently went into the kitchen and took pictures of their frozen food products, but like I don't, oh hey, my laundry's finally freaking done. Takes all day, I swear. Lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I have a bunch of random pictures of like their frozen foods that I don't think I'm gonna be able to like do anything with that because I'm not even gonna be able to tell what's what. So I don't know, I'll look at those pics later. But first things first, I'm gonna make a new like menu cycle, 1-week menu cycle, and then hopefully finish it quickly, send it along, and see what else people are wanting to change. I'll let you know how that goes. I did it. I did it. I wasn't gonna do it, girl. I was just thinking about it. No, I did do it. I finished the menu draft. I'm like a little bit more confused than I was before now though. So I have all these notes, right? And you can see things that are highlighted, circled, crossed out, whatever. So my first issue I ran into was looking at the breakfast options. I had only circled 6 instead of 7. There are 7 days in a week and I only have 6 options circled. So I'm confused. I think I must have just missed one, but I put it in my draft as like a highlighted one the day that I'm like, I don't know what we agreed to on this one, so like check it out. Yeah, on here, like all of these are the ones we circled, and then this one was just left from the previous draft, but I wasn't sure what else we had agreed on, so I just highlighted that and made a note of it at the end. And then you can see there's some other things highlighted. I didn't know which vegetable options we were wanting to do here. And this isn't like a perfect final draft. I would like to change it up a little bit potentially. And I did go through and try to make sure there weren't too many repetitive items, like mashed potatoes are served here. So we didn't want mashed potatoes again as a lunch meal, but we did have mashed potatoes with another thing. So I had to make sure that that was on dinner. I don't know if that's too close together, but I just didn't want to stare at this anymore. So I sent out the draft, asked for any feedback, and I'm happy to change this up again, obviously. And then we have some always available things. This is a very much work in progress thing. And then here are my questions I'm asking people. So I sent this out as an email and I'm waiting to hear back. And I'm glad because now I can throw this away. We love to see it. I love to get rid of the clutter. It is currently 2 p.m. Well, it's past 2, but it's currently 2. And I could take on my much larger feats that I have, and I think I will. No, I don't know. I do have much bigger tasks ahead, much more vague ones that I don't really know what to do with. One thing that's exciting, and I don't really know how exciting this is yet, but one thing that's potentially exciting is the policies for like my biggest building right now that I have the most homework for. A lot of the stuff that they have electronically, I'm not able to access remotely, if that makes sense. Usually that's not a problem, but like, cause usually I'm able to access things remotely, but for this building, it's paper charting and all this stuff. So like, I don't know. I haven't figured out all the like finer details of that availability. But for their policy portal, I was so sure I was not gonna be able to access it from home, but I sent an email to myself with the link. And I was able to go through the link and log in and see the policy portal. I'm thrilled about that. So that gives me hope that I'm gonna be able to look into it and such from home. I don't know how helpful that's gonna be, but I can do it. So that's interesting. I was just able to confirm that. I don't know, I'll see if I can show you. Yeah, so I'm logged into the portal. Like, look, hello, that's me. I'm logged in and I can see things, but like, I don't know how helpful this is gonna be because I don't own any of the policies that we're working on. So I'm not able to actually edit anything from here unless I steal someone else's login info, and I won't do that. But I mean, if I do, she'll know what's happening because we've met multiple times and discussed in depth like what we're going to be changing. But I'm going to be able to see it, like live what is uploaded, right? Because we've submitted a lot of requested updates and I don't know if they've been approved quite yet. I don't think they have been. Nope. Everything's still saying last approved in 2024. So that's not in yet. Okay, so that kind of crushed my spirits. Although, whoa, I'm noticing there's only 63 now, which means that me deleting some of the redundant ones did go through and is accurate. So that's exciting, but we still are waiting for final approval on the other ones. Okay, maybe it's not a lost cause, but I'm able to look at this and see the progress. So that's, I guess, promising in some sort of way. So policies is another thing I'm gonna be looking at, but like that's a very big, scary task to me. I don't really know what to do with that. I don't know if there's anything else I need to look at in terms of menu for that building either. There might be, I'm not sure. I know that I need to update the carb count information, which I don't want to do. But that is something that's a little bit more pressing because I think that the menu is mostly finalized. I may need to tweak it still, but I do need to do carb count info. I don't want to, I don't know what else I have to do. Yeah, I think I need to take a little mini break. Potentially. I don't really know. I'm gonna at least empty my laundry because I just remembered I forgot that that was happening. The coffee helped me a lot. Oh my God, I'm feeling fine. I'm just fine. Oh, she's not listening to me. I was seeing if my dog was being entertained. Okay, I don't have anything else to say. I'm gonna go. Well, hello there. It is Friday. I do have a somewhat light workload today, theoretically. I just arrived to the only place I need to go into physically today. So that is why it's theoretically a light work day. And usually this isn't a heavy workload. I actually could have checked remotely to see if I even needed to come in, but I just felt like, well, I won't get dressed if I don't have a reason to leave the house right now. So I decided I would just come. And so hopefully there is something for me to do. I got to get my key card out now that I'm realizing I'm literally here. This is my whole like key system for this building. Everywhere else I have like an ID badge. I have like a set of keys. I have some scanner fob things like this. I forget if I already complained about this, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. But here they actually did take a like ID picture for me in freaking October of last year. It is now April. And all of the other staff that I ever see that work for this company at all, not just this building site, but like everywhere, they all have these fancy new ID badges. I've never had one for this building. And hopefully it is making its way to me now because I finally think I bothered the right person at the right time. So that's a plus. I guess I'll keep you updated. I'm very excited for my ID. I don't really care, but like, then I can at least take this stupid key fob off of it and have like a lanyard or something. So it'll be, this thing's gotten so grungy. It's an old hair tie and it's so ratty now. It's a mess. But anyway, I'm here. I should only on my radar have like doing client assessments and speaking with patients, because I think I'm caught up on everything else here. We've done the whole like menu drafting update thing. I believe that the people that I'm working with on that only usually work the first half of the week, or are only in this building the first half of the week, so I don't think I'm going to see them or hear anything back from them. But if I do, I mean, I'll follow up on that. It won't take me too long, I imagine. But yeah, that's kind of the only extra thing right now, because it's the beginning of the month. I have to do a sanitation inspection walkthrough of the kitchen once a month here, but like I just did one like in the last week, so I'm not gonna do that today. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to report. I did get an email from, okay, let's back up. How do I describe which building I'm talking about? So there's a hospital that I went to this week on Monday and Wednesday, and I didn't have to go today because the hospital had coverage sorted already. Like they had a dietitian come in that used to be their full-time dietitian, but is not going to be with the company after today. She sent me an email reply to my last summary report, because I sent it to her in addition to my new normal list. I sent it to her on Wednesday. So she replied and followed up with me like, thanks for your notes. Like they were very helpful, of course, though. Like everyone on that sheet has now discharged by today. So that's crazy. I feel like that hospital, people are really in and out. Like I swear they're only there like 2 days max. Like it's crazy. But anyway, I heard back from her. I am going to be meeting a new dietitian at that building on Monday of next week. So I don't know what time or anything, or like what that's going to really look like long term, but I'm going to be training her and onboarding her, which is going to be kind of the blind leading the blind, because I don't know that much, but I've kind of prepped some things to go over with her. Again, I don't, because she has to meet with the HR at that building too, so I imagine she's going to have to set up that meeting time, and then I'm going to have to work around whatever she's got going on there. So hopefully that's early in the day though, because that's the only way it's really going to work for my schedule, because I have to do that building first in the day, because then I have to drive in a circle on Monday. So like it's the only order that makes any sense to get anything done. So I have to do that building first, and then I have another stop at like my main paper charting building I've talked about a million times. I got paranoid because somebody's in the parking lot and I'm like, is he watching me? No, he's not. Then I have my main paper charting building, which can take a lot of time and a lot of work, and I know I'm gonna have a little like extra set of tasks I'm gonna have to do on Monday. So potentially, it's not urgent, but I'm already kind of anticipating that. And then I have a planned dinner observation like I did on this Monday. I tried to just like cluster them all, so it was like knock them all out really quick. If for whatever reason the schedule thing doesn't quite work out for building number 1 of that day, like if I have to go there later in the day or late morning or afternoon or something, I'm not going to be able to make this loop work and get all of my stuff done. So I'm going to have to find a way to probably reschedule my group home thing, which I'd hate to do, but I don't think it'll inconvenience them too much. I could just push it. Oh, I'd have to push it 2 weeks, which should be fine. But like, I'm going to be out of town in a little over a week. That'll be fun. I'm going to Florida. What else do I have to tell you? I texted back and forth a little bit I went there on Tuesday, that building, the building I'm talking about now. It was the first group session I had on Tuesday morning that I'm kind of in question about like what that building workload is going to look like long term, because there's been kind of some back and forth. I trained a new dietitian and we weren't sure if she was taking the building entirely or if we were going to split it, and like one of us visits one day, one of us visits the other day or whatever. We weren't sure. And then we're still not sure actually. So I got some text messages just asking some clarifying questions about my last report summary I sent to her and some other stuff. She texted me last night. We just went back and forth for a little bit, and it was pretty straightforward. Like she asked me, there was somebody that she had a referral consult request for that I had already seen on Tuesday, but there wasn't a consult request that I was able to see the day I was there. So she was like, I'm just like questioning and checking in like what's going on here. And I was like, oh, maybe they only sent the referral to you, or it was after I already met with them, but they've already been seen and educated, so like no issues there. So like that was the main question she had. Anyway, what else? I don't know, my brain's blank. I guess I should go in and work. Happy Friday. I will follow up with anything fun and fresh to tell you. Look at this sleepy girl. I just realized that I haven't checked in with you again. So I did obviously get home. I'm in my loungewear from my work site. There wasn't very much. Actually, I'm about to lie to you. I was about to lie and say there wasn't much work. That was the most patients I've seen admitted to that hospital in like a year. Like, it was actually a lot more patient workload than I expected, but it didn't take incredibly long and it was overall pretty straightforward. So I'm trying to think about what I could share with you based on those conversations. A few of them, I already had met them and given them nutrition education somewhat recently, so nothing really new to report. There were a couple of food allergies that I had to clarify, so, oh, I didn't realize the air was so loud. Okay, it's off now, so it'll be quieter. I'm sorry the lighting's terrible, I just wanted to be near my doggy. We just got back from a walk, so she is chilling. She's chilling. What? Lost my train of thought. One of them I just wanted to clarify because it was listed as a shellfish allergy, and I saw that she was prescribed an EpiPen, and she had a list of allergens in the electronic charting system, and some of them had the reaction listed with the allergen. So most of it was medication related or whatever. And there was something she was anaphylactic reactive to, which is like throat swelling, life-threatening allergy. That was one of the medication allergies, and the shellfish allergy did not have a reaction listed. So I went to check with her, and it is also anaphylactic, so I just clarified that and also asked her about like any other potential food allergies. She does also avoid just fish, so 2 different food allergens, shellfish and fish. It can get confusing, but those are 2 different types of allergies. So she also avoids just like fish, just out of caution. It's not a confirmed allergy for her, but of course, we actually had a fish on the menu at the next upcoming meal. Of course, it was cod wedges. So she had already talked to staff and they were already getting her an alternative meal, so that was easy peasy, but that was something that I was hoping that I was going to be able to get figured out for her, but then it was already figured out, so that was easy. The other like main conversation I had was just kind of bizarre. Again, these are mostly places that I work, inpatient psychiatric hospitals. So my other nutrition education session and like meeting with someone didn't really go very well because of severity of symptoms. Like, she was just not in a place to be able to receive the education and answer questions appropriately. Okay. So, but I had to talk to her because she had a lot of potential nutrition related risks. So, for this particular hospital, this is kind of an iteration of what is done at every place, but for here, whenever they're admitted, the nurse will go through an admission assessment, and an aspect of that assessment includes a nutrition risk screening where they'll ask specific questions about like if they've had any weight changes recently, if they follow any particular diet regimen, or like how their appetite is, just any background that would be relevant for my assessment, like tooth pain or something like that, so I can figure out, you know, medically what is necessary for like a therapeutic diet order, etc. So that is an aspect of the nutrition screening. Well, the like patients getting referred to me to have an assessment with. Wow, I don't know why I'm stumbling. I guess I'm mentally done with my workday, and that's just like making my brain turn off. But another aspect of what is done upon onboarding is all of the patients see a doctor, obviously like a psychiatrist, and that doctor will complete a psychiatric evaluation, but also a history and physical, which is the one that I'm looking at because it has a lot more of like the medical potential risks and things that would impact their diet needs. And it actually also includes a nutrition risk screening, which isn't always the case, but for some reason the template that's used here, the history and physical, includes a nutrition risk screen. So I always check the nursing admission assessment screen and the history and physical screen. So she had a variety of different possible concerns, including like diabetes. She is ordered already an appropriate diet at the hospital for that. She reported like significant tooth pain because her fillings had been, like her dental fillings had been forcibly removed allegedly, but then none of the staff that was on site today knew anything about that. So I'm not totally sure that was like accurate because she's not reporting any mouth pain at all and she's eating well. What's in my mouth? And whenever I talked to her, she didn't bring that up. She also reported some weight changes, but she wasn't able to specify what that looked like. So whenever I went to go talk to her, my primary concerns, also this wasn't listed on the chart anywhere that I was reviewing like the screenings and stuff, but whenever I talked to the nursing staff before I went out and went to meet with all the patients, the nurse that was in charge of her care like specifically pointed out that particular patient and was telling me something about a dairy allergy that was listed upon admission, and then the patient was aggravated that she wasn't being given cheese with one of her meals, so that's when it got like clarified to a lactose intolerance. That wasn't on the chart anywhere that I was able to see, so I didn't know about that, so I was actually very grateful. But she gave me some more like information to prepare me for that conversation. But again, severity of symptoms, we didn't really get anything done. Some of the discussion was just bonkers, to be perfectly honest, but it is what it is. So like one of the things I was asking about was about the diabetes and like how she uses diet, if she's been educated in the past, to manage her blood sugar maintenance and stuff like that. I feel like I said that word, but you know what I mean. And she wasn't super receptive to education. She talked about calorie counting and like these booklets that she had that helped her with her diet. And she acknowledged some principles I usually talk about with patients for diabetes. So I usually try to keep it extremely simple at first and then dive into further topics. So the first thing is like portion control and like what an appropriate portion size of a carbohydrate food is. And she was able to like describe that to me, because she was telling me like eating this on its own is fine for me, but whenever I pair it with this other carbohydrate food, that's something that my body doesn't tolerate well. I'm like, yes, that makes sense, and here's why. But then the other aspect of it is a balanced eating regimen. So like whenever we're eating a carbohydrate food, pairing it with something that's high in fat, fiber, or protein to better regulate our blood sugar. So that's what I was initially going to present with her with, but it just didn't work out, obviously. And then as far as the lactose intolerance / dairy allergy / whatever goes, she gave me so much conflicting information within like a few sentences. Like went totally back and forth on whether she's able to tolerate milk or any other dairy products, but also she's like not able to tolerate any of them and uses non-dairy items exclusively, or like even lactose-free dairy still upsets her stomach, stuff like that. So like we were going back and forth and I'm not sure what to make of it, so I didn't change anything. I just kind of like described that in my summary and in my assessment, like this is what I knew and this is what she told me. I don't know what to do with it. So yeah, I don't know. It just didn't go very well as far as like receptiveness, which is due to the significance of her psychiatric symptoms, which is why she's at the hospital, right? I will probably have her on my radar to follow up with at my next visit if she's still there, because perhaps she will be on some sort of treatment plan that will make her a little bit more receptive to my education and discussion and make things a little bit more straightforward. So yeah, we're gonna be following up on her, but nothing else too interesting, I would say. I actually did get some follow-up feedback about the 1 week menu thing. It wasn't any of the staff at the building, it was actually within my company. My boss just made some minor edits to my draft and asked for any other feedback that anyone else was noticing, so like it's not done yet, but I did get some information, so that was exciting. I also was planning on doing some remote work, but I don't know, I'm not really feeling particularly motivated or inspired to do so, but I still might, we'll see. I don't know, I think it's just like a big question mark in my mind of like, what the heck am I even doing for that remote work? Because like one thing is like the spring summer menu. We're already in the menu cycle. Do I need to change anything? Why is that in my head as a question mark? Like, what do I need to actually do anything about that? I don't know. Creating the carbohydrate count sheets, yes, I do need to do that, but also, is that really important? And also, we already have existing ones that are at least very close to what is accurately being done current day. So not really a major priority of mine. And then policy updates. I don't have a clue where we are with that because I'm not able to access what's being updated or access anything to make any of those suggestions myself. So I just don't know. I don't want to mess with it. And yeah, all the other stuff I would have to be physically in person at the site to do because it's a paper charting building. So like one thing that I know is on my radar is that the kids that are there, long-term residents, like in their residential unit, we have actually, they weigh them twice a month, but I review monthly weights to see how things are going. If they're having trending losses or gains or whatever, is their BMI category changing? Like plotting it on the growth chart, is there fluctuation or are they pretty stable? So like I review that monthly, and on Thursday, they got those heights and weights done and updated, but I'm not able to access any of the data from home. So can't really do much to prep about that. So, I mean, I guess in summary, I don't plan on working. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm forgetting about. It is Friday, and I did tell you how I answered some texts for a dietitian this is so convoluted, I know. The one that I went to on Tuesday, the morning group session that I'm potentially splitting this building with a new dietitian I've trained. Maybe she's taking it. I don't know. We texted back and forth yesterday evening talking about like her preparation for today's coverage. So I'm gonna be kind of like on standby on call if she needs anything from me today, but I don't imagine she will. I'm not totally sure. And I think I just have a lot of like lingering question marks in my mind because I'm really not sure what next week is looking like. So I'll give you a little preview here. Are you falling asleep? She is. She's a good girl. Next week, I leave for vacation on Friday. Very excited. Very excited. But I am still going to be working that day. I'm just going to do a partial day. Which, like, if it's anything like today, it's going to be very easy to do that because I did not have a very heavy workload. I will have something else on my agenda next week on Friday, but I think we're still gonna be fine. Monday's gonna be another wild day. I've already told you a little bit about that. I'm not really sure what that's gonna iron out and look like. So I kind of just am not sure what that day's schedule is going to become. So I think that's part of my, like, I feel like I'm not done for the week because I have no idea what Monday's looking like yet, but we'll figure it out. It'll be okay. Then Tuesday, I don't really know anything. Oh my God, you guys, I don't know my schedule next week. So Tuesday, I'm potentially going to be going in for both of my group things again, but I don't know about the first one. I just don't know. So that's fun. And then I don't know Wednesday either. I mean, I do kind of know. It'll be fine. You know what? We're going to talk about this and bridge this gap when we get there. Maybe everything will feel super clear and easy peasy, lemon squeezy when we do get there. It's hard to say, hard to know. I don't know. I feel like we didn't chat much about nutrition today, or this week, I suppose, but I do hope that this was still enjoyable or helpful in some sort of way, so let me know what you think. Yeah. Would love to hear from you in the comments. Make sure to subscribe for more nonsense and chaos, and more Kyla, of course. Okay, toodles!